All right, your boy is live. Kevin Yee, the Farm D, in the motherfucking house. If you're just tuning into this series, basically, it is my weekly stream where I just like spend the next, I always say 30 minutes, but it's the next hour to really just connect with y'all, just bond with y'all. Meta bonding time. My vision for this is kind of like, you know how, well, back pre quarantine and whatnot, we used to do those like family, those family Sunday dinners. Well, if it was in LA, I'd be having dinner with y'all, but it's like 9 p.m. over here, so in Boston. So not gonna do that. But I think it's kind of a cool time to just like gather around, kind of shoot me some of your updates this week. I shoot some of my updates and just, I think that's one of the things that's missing these days is kind of like the human element, the connection of thoughts, people as well. And so that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to bridge that gap as well. So, anyways, it is the start of a new year. I actually have a new video coming out tomorrow about how my end of year planning as well. It's so funny, like, dude, all the people I follow, Ali Abdal, um, Graham, not Stefan, but Graham, what's his name? Shit. Can't remember his name. Graham Cochran, yeah. So they all did end of year reviews. Me and my team just did one. It was actually supposed to go out today, but unfortunately there was like a miscommunication between me and my editor and stuff, so we couldn't get that out today. But try and get that out tomorrow. It's a pretty sick video in my opinion, just because we added a lot of B-roll. We're starting to incorporate a lot of the things that I've been learning from Ali Abdal and stuff like that. So we're doing that at the moment. So it's pretty cool, honestly. And so far this year, or yeah, the 3 days in the year, it's been pretty busy for me for the most part. I've been doing things like using this time tracker like called Toggle, right? And I should probably do this for under my YouTube channel as well. But basically, I've been doing that. I actually finished most of the scripting for, I think I only have 2 modules left in terms of my scripting for my high ticket sales program. So I'm really excited for that. Going to be launching that very soon. I just finished drafting my email for the Kick-Ass Investing Bootcamp. So that should be coming out very low price at like $29. So I'm really happy and excited to do that because it's really meant to empower people through their personal finances versus investing, right? And then we have like a bunch of solid videos coming out this week, so I'm just really excited with everything that's happening as well. We got 7 people in the house. Make sure to drop a like if you guys are just tuning in, and let's kind of shoot the shit. Let's kind of answer some of the questions that we get. Brent Savage, what job do you do now? Well, I don't have a job at the moment. So I do YouTube, I do business consulting, more specifically high ticket sales consulting and high ticket program design as well. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, it's probably not for you. You're probably not the target audience for that. But basically what I help do is create product offerings, service offerings for a lot of different entrepreneurs as well. So, and I help basically scale their sales team at the moment. So that's a little bit about what I do, but really the goal for this year is to really grow this YouTube channel. I think near the end of last year, we took Ali Abdal's program, right? And I got to see every single gap that I had on my YouTube channel. I was like, shit, this is crazy. But I think the biggest, like from macro sense, yeah, there's a lot of technical aspects, like the processes, like, hey, Kevin, do you have videos scheduled for this day, this day, this day? Can you organize it with your team and stuff like that? It's like that. That's like the logistics and the process and stuff like that. But the number one thing I realized with YouTube is like, I gotta just go back to my roots where when I first started this YouTube channel, I didn't have 3 points. I wasn't doing like, hey, in today's video, we're going to talk about the 3, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like you have to do a little bit of that for the algorithm. But honestly, I want to get back into like story time, storytelling, that fun aspect of YouTube that made it fun. Because honestly, I was talking to my friend PSM Ella, right? I did an interview with her. I was just speaking with her like 2 hours ago. And we're talking about like how those videos like freaking kill our fucking soul, dude. It's like they're so shitty. They're so not fun to make, honestly. Like for me, they're not the fun content that I really like making. And also, it's like it's kind of like content constipation almost. Like that's the only word I can think of where it's like you're just like, okay, in today's video we're gonna fuck. In today's video we're gonna damn it, right? It just does not flow sometimes, and it's just like when I am in flow, I feel that's some of my best fire content, honestly. And if I can get a blend of that, which I'm still tweaking at the moment, I think that's the ideal thing as well, right? We got Bob Dole, MVP in the house. Thanks for your super chat last time. Really meant a lot, my man. But hey, welcome to stream. Camera quality still top tier as usual. Yeah, I actually have. It's not so much the camera. The camera is the same one I've been using. It's actually the light. So I'm using I think it's a Godox or something with a light dome, and it provides that really nice shadow effect. And then I have the accent lights in the back, which kind of really light up the scene. I learned a lot about lighting recently. So just trying to implement everything I'm learning as well. So you're going to see a step up in quality, step up in all that. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Really appreciate it. For those 8 people who haven't, man, support your boy through the algorithms as well. I really want to, I think by the end of the year, I really want to get this to 23K, this channel. So I know we can absolutely do it, but it's going to require a huge pivot in my channel. So I'm probably going to not really talk about pharmacy stuff anymore, or really talk about my life post pharmacy more so. Yeah, that's just a matter of fact, honestly, right? So there's that. What do you think about medical sales? I mean, I have no opinion about it, although I was actually very curious recently what it would be like to do something like pharmaceutical sales with pharmacy, and having the sales background as well. So I could do like, that'd be something interesting to dive into, and seeing if like how people can transition over to farm sales. Although I don't think too many, like it really depends. It takes a certain character to really want to do sales, honestly. And in a lot of people's minds, sales, like I talked to a lot of my personal friends, a lot of them have aversion to sales, right? And that's the thing, man. Like you can't, like in the entrepreneurial world, the people that I see that grow the most aren't scared of sales. And it's not a scary thing. It's just like you provide an offer and somebody, you understand someone's situation, you provide an offer, and if it makes sense, they buy. If they don't, move on to the next one, right? It's really not that complicated from a macro sense, right? Obviously there's the whole fact of positioning and refining your message, which is the part I love. I love the whole refinement part. That's the most fun part. That's a human psychology part. Is it manipulation? I don't think so. I think it's more so being able to communicate more clearly, right? Imagine if someone was talking about this fucking pen for like 20 minutes, right? You probably won't want to hear that shit. But if you could convey the same message with one sentence, wouldn't that be wouldn't that, I mean, it just makes it more frictionless, and that's a whole idea or concept behind the process as well. So that's my thoughts about sales at the moment. Brent says you could probably do it. I absolutely agree. I could probably do farm sales, or medical sales. But honestly, do I really want to do that at this point in my life? I don't want to say no forever, but I mean, because I've been kind of more open to a lot of different things coming into my life. But at the moment right now, if I were to listen to my gut, my intuition, I would say no, that's not something I want. What is something about Vegas that makes you want to live there? Many say it's a great place to visit, but different to live there. Well, so I've never lived in Vegas for a long period of time. I think the longest I was there was when my uncle, because fun fact, my uncle actually moved there for tax reasons out of Massachusetts, right? And he's enjoying it. And when I was there, I was staying at his place for about 3 weeks, and it was really fun. It felt like California, honestly. And it was just like really, I don't know, like you're so close to Strip as well, so you can go for a sense of adventure. But also like if you want to live that suburbia life, you can do that. There's like And I didn't run into too many traffic. I don't know if traffic's that bad. Pretty sure if like you go on the strip, the clubs are like hella packed and stuff on the weekend back pre Rona. But I like it because there's a lot of diverse places, and also like you can get Asian food and stuff. And I don't really know what it's like living there. I don't really have any friends out there, but I'm sure I can make friends out there pretty damn quickly, man. But I think that's like those are some of the factors that I really like. It's close to California, and then you don't have to deal with the crazy LA traffic too. There's also a 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu out there too, so that's another compelling reason to go out to Vegas. No income, like state income tax, no state income tax, which is really nice, especially if you're a business owner as well. So those are some of the reasons. Hagao says, would you consider a normal 9 to 5 job again? What one when you're an employee again? I don't want to say like never. Like the only time I would consider a normal 9 to 5, which which I was like thinking like, well, if I want to learn a specific skill on someone's dime, like for example, if I want to learn like Facebook ads or something like that, or like digital marketing formally and stuff, maybe that's when I would do it to build up some credibility or a track record, honestly. But I think for me, I enjoy the freedom way too much, right? Um, that's something that my friend Rich and Itch, he always says, like, once you have that freedom, you just don't want to go back. You just rather always be working on your craft, doing your own thing. And I think that's like the most addictive thing I've realized, right? It's kind of like the life I wanted. Is it a really hard life? Yeah, it is. It's really hard. There's a lot of ups and downs you got to figure out. Like, because what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to get by. I'm trying to really thrive, right? Through building these digital assets and stuff too. And that's why I really double down on having coaches and stuff like that, like a YouTube coach, a business coach, all this sort of stuff. Because if I can model from their success, then even if I get a fraction of it, I'd be super happy. Now, me being an achiever on my strength finders, I know I'll never be like that, right? Like I always got to be very careful about myself because I always really exert myself way too much. And that's why I actually started tracking my time recently on all the related work projects I'm doing as well. So there's that. But no, I don't think I could really go back to a normal 9 to 5, to be honest with you. Or if I was, I'd be a really bad employee. Maybe if I want to secure a bag really quick, like for example, if like right now CVS and all that, they're doing vaccinations and all that. If I really needed cash and I would just want to grab a bag, sure, I could do that, right? So that's like one of the reasons why you just never know. You know, you can't tell the future. I think it's very, in the past, I used to be like very anti 9 to 5. I'm still a little bit anti 9 to 5, but I also realize like the importance of circumstance as well. Like if you have a kid and stuff and you want to provide a really great living and you're not like me, you're single and doing your own thing, then it I mean, it might make sense grabbing a more stable type of thing for living expenses as well. But I think at the end of the day, you can always find, if you really want something, you can always find a different way to kind of get what you want as well. So I don't think it's the end of the world. Let's answer next question. The pharmacy and medical sales make a lot of money sometimes. More like docs, like 150 is average for med. Yeah, I was actually checking out one of my friends, really good friends. He works for Amgen. I was checking out their salaries, man, and out in, I think it was, they had an opening in like Chicago or somewhere in Midwest. I can't remember. But basically what happened, like there's like performance bonuses and they were getting paid 120K per year. Now, what is the life of a sales rep and stuff? I have no idea. Probably a lot of building relationships and all that. I mean, a lot of people, like my friend Tom, he was like, dude, you should go into pharmacy sales and all that. And I was like, I can always, like, I don't want to say I can always do that, but at the time, right now, it doesn't really solve the need that I really want. I really want that freedom and that remote income, which is so important to me. I mean, once you solve the income gap of everything, you're pretty much, it almost feels like you're retired, man. I mean, even the work I do right now doesn't feel like work. I've learned a lot of different things over the years. Over this last year, actually, I learned how to use things like Notion. I learned how to use things like Airtable, Kartra, all these different tools, and learn how to build websites, design, branding. I'm always getting to learn new things, and I think that's the one thing I love about what I do at the moment right now as well. By the way, for those one person downvoted this. For those 13 people who haven't voted yet or given me a like or anything like that, I would really appreciate it, y'all. Lemon Doug says, "Hope you had a good week, my man." Yeah, I did. I had a pretty decent week so far. Still got a lot to do, man, but trying to pace myself. Like I honestly got this bio strap and Aura ring um to really track my stress and stuff, and that's really been helping a lot for me as well. Andrew Paulo Clips says, "What up, bro? I'm a pharmacist too, trying to go full time on YouTube." Awesome stuff, man, my man. Yeah, I'd love to kind of hear like what's your niche and stuff on YouTube. What are you trying to grow? What's your goals and stuff? Would love to hear that. True. After I went part time, I realized extra money wasn't worth it in the loss of freedom. Exactly. So you kind of have a taste of it, Hagao, right? So once you kind of like taste that freedom, it's like you really don't want to go back. And I mean, the way I look at money is very differently than how I used to, right? Like how I used to look at money is like money is for retirement. You throw all your money into these things and you just let them grow and stuff. Nowadays, I have a very different view on money where it's like, okay, if the money right now, if you can invest your money into cash flow assets or different assets, right? They can support your lifestyle. And if they support your lifestyle, like isn't that the point of retirement? I mean, a lot of people secure a bag, right? Like try to make a lot of money through retirement assets and all that sort of stuff. They try to get a huge nest egg and live off like 4% of that retirement income or whatever, right? And so, with that being said, like, um, basically that's just a strategy that sells for cash flow, in my opinion, right? And so, like I said, if you can find a stream of revenue that can replace that, um, is really great. And honestly, the only truly passive, like, yes, there's real estate, there's a lot of different things, but the one that really resonates with me a lot is things like YouTube. Honestly, you're essentially a media company. You are, whether you think you're selling or not, you're selling ad dollars. You're creating really kick-ass content, which gets more views, which feeds the algorithm, which sells more ads. You are a media company on YouTube, but I just love it. I think it's just a great win-win. And then you can also monetize even further through brand deals and then also through your own private products as well. So there's a lot of potential and you can just reach so many people. Like the new currency these days isn't dollars, honestly. It's attention, because you can add value and sell that as well. So yes. Born and raised in Vegas, family's from LA. I also lived in LA for a few years. Vegas is nice. I miss my home. I'm on the East Coast right now. Well, Aaron, sorry to hear that, man. The East Coast can be really rough. I'm not sure if you have allergies, but I have pretty intense allergies. But I mean, I like the East Coast is my real home. Honestly, I grew up here, lived here. I'm actually here right now, but I like the West Coast a lot just because no allergies, dry weather, great jujitsu. Like those are major things. If you can't tell, jujitsu is like one of the major reasons why I love California still, because Eddie Bravo, 10th Planet, man, is still there. um, Ethan, he didn't answer me. Well, you never ask a question, my man. I got rid of the golden handcuffs and doing another degree starting about a week. Congrats. Hi, Gal. What are you pursuing as well? So let me know. What are your thoughts on Seth Godin? Quote related to being in an online presence, which is currencies of anybody who wants to make change happen are attention and trust. They are a virtuous cycle. You don't get attention unless you're trusted. You don't get trusted unless you get attention. I agree 1000% with Seth Godin. It's kind of like it goes back to, you might feel some type of way about Gary Vee. I mean, sometimes I do. I don't really watch Gary Vee, to be honest with you, because I find his content a little bit redundant. But I mean, his whole philosophy is jab, jab, right hook is being able to build trust, build trust, build trust, capitalize it, and that. I think one of the reasons why Ali Abdal has been able to grow so much. I was talking about this with, like I said, my friend Ella, and we were talking about, um, like honestly, like he's been able to grow so much because he's just really authentic. He enjoys making the content that he does, and yes, it's planned and stuff. Like he scripts out his content and all that, but it's really good, and you can tell that he's having a blast. Whereas, like for me, when I talk about pharmacy, it's just like, man, sometimes I feel very passionate about it. Like if you watch my "Don't Do Pharmacy, Here's Why" Part 2, right? Like you can tell, like I feel very strongly about it because I feel for a lot of these pharmacy students who are trying to go in the field, and I'm legit concerned about them not finding a job, right? But it's just like, is pharmacy worth it? Do I really want to make that content, man? I've been doing that for a long time. Not really. I think it's time to move on as well. So that's kind of like, so I think like part of it is being able to, yes, back to your original question, is like, I think Seth Godin is right. Trust and intention are key. Because, for example, I mean, I rank really high for Nova Patra. That's one of my top videos, top interviews. But guess what the average duration is? It's a bunch of kids probably going on there seeing like, oh, somebody masturbating on Twitch, right? In 17 seconds, and then you click out, right? And so that's an example of a lot of tension, but no trust is really built. Like it's not getting people for the right reason. And that's why it's so important to have a really, really specific avatar as well. Maybe I'll show you guys one of my avatars in the future for like digital marketing if you guys are really interested in that. But I actually have 3 different avatars for this channel. Like one, I mean, and the one thing that they all have in common is like, hey, they realize that pharmacy is cool, but they don't see themselves doing pharmacy. Like, let me ask you guys, how many of you guys that are watching fit into that category where deep down inside you maybe don't hate pharmacy like I do. I wouldn't say I hate pharmacy, but deep down inside, you know that you want to do something more than pharmacy. You want to do something bigger than pharmacy as well, and you're looking for an alternative. And so that's where I want to start gearing my content more toward like that sort of niche, and just helping people like through my free content, and then also like pay content as well. But you know, I want to do that, start heading toward that direction a lot more. If you wanted to, can you find another retail pharmacist job? If there's available, I'm pretty sure I can. I have the experience to do it. Now, do I really want to do it? I don't know. Maybe if they find my video about "Don't Do Pharmacy," would they hire me? Maybe not, because maybe they would think I'm a threat. I have no idea. But if they were looking at my credentials, absolutely, I believe so. But who knows? Are you going to do a bit of crypto, and once the pump and dump is done and the market corrects itself? Ethereum is up 10x this year, but all everyone can see is the whale of Bitcoin, no profit. Yeah, I actually still have all my crypto, and I'm not. I mean, I'm glad I invested majority of my money back then into crypto, and I kept it. I didn't sell it. I did sell my Litecoin at one point, but for the most part, like I kept everything, and so it's gonna keep on going up. I believe that this is all speculation, by the way, but I believe that, especially right now, the amount of debt that we're taking on as a country due to this COVID thing is definitely having people question the American dollar and looking at other sources of store of value as well. So Bitcoin is there. Will it be there in 10 plus years? I think so, but I don't know. I'm not an expert in this field, right? Like that's just what I think. But yes, I still do crypto and stuff. I'm actually looking at another technology at the moment. My really, really good friend, he recommended something, but I'm going to invest in it and look at it. I don't want to give like any financial advice on crypto and stuff on this quite yet, but I will let you guys know when I invest into it. Uh, Alex Alex says, I'm going to slowly exit and believe, I really believe a peak is going to occur in September of this year. Google searches are still nowhere to last peak yet. What microphone do you use? Looking at upgrade mine. Thanks. So if you go to, refugee, believe it or not, I have the SM7B. Yeah, if you go here, Andrew, there's all my gear as well. I use the SM7B for the most part. This is the same mic that Joe Rogan uses. You need something called a FET head or a cloud lifter with it, or like a compressor. The easiest way to do it is just get a FET head. It's just like a little silver thing that you input into your audio interface or directly to a mic, and then it'll raise the volume of it too as well. Dude, we got nine. What's 9 minus 17 people who haven't like upvoted this video. Would really appreciate it if you're tuning in, if you could spam the like button just so that we can get more views on this and helps monetize my channel. Believe it or not, you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys know, but I actually have an editor, and pretty much I'm running this YouTube channel at a pretty net even, honestly. Just paying him and stuff, just creating content. So it would support my channel a lot. Well, that's based off the AdSense dollars, but you know, it would really support my channel a lot if you could do that for me as well. Samir says, I'm a pharmacist. Don't do it. Says Samir. Legit. That's me too, says Aaron. Pedram, what's going on, my man? I haven't seen you here in a while. If it's the same Pedram that I remember, hey, welcome back. Going for CS, 2 years to do the whole thing as a transfer. Looking at COVID as being a sign not to brute force myself into a profession until I retire. Exactly. Appreciate the likes, y'all. Really do. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like really finding work that you love. Like, there's so much like work out there. It's like, I feel like you don't have to be stuck to pharmacy. There's ways to get out as well. The only thing that's really tough is the crushing amount of debt that you take on with pharmacy as well. So there has to be a barrier, like something. But here's the thing to keep in mind, right? Like, money is money. If you take the time to get really skillful at what you do, and as long as there's other people who are making tons of money in the industry, you always have someone to model from as well, right? And so I'm not saying you should go digital marketing. For me, I believe digital marketing is a real trend. I mean, one of my videos, I've seen like, it was very inspiring. It's like one of my friends, her name's Athena, and she had a really, really dark past. I don't know if she has publicly said her stuff, so I don't want to just throw it out there, but let's say that she had some major, major problems back in the day, right? She was going through a lot and her life was falling apart at 18, 19, but she's 23 now and she's making at least like 120, 130K at 23, doing digital marketing, taking an online course. And so when I hear people like, for example, CoffeeZilla or other people say like these courses are a scam, courses change people's lives if done correctly. Sure, has it had a negative impact as well? Yeah, people who kind of bait and switch their programs and stuff or don't fulfill on their programs. But I think these days, like the word scam is thrown out way too liberally as well. And I think by investing into your future through knowledge, like I'm always a big proponent of educating yourself. And that's the one thing I love from pharmacy is like the concept of continuing education. And sure, I didn't really continue it in the healthcare space, I guess, but I was able to continue it through, hey, modern day selling, through digital marketing, through content creation, through sale, obviously inbound sales and high ticket sales. And it really changed my life. You know, it really impacted my life where I actually have something that I truly love because it combines like things like psychology, um, crafting, intellectual property and stuff. I love that shit. It's like what I breathe, and I know I love it because when I'm on a virtual summit like last 2 weeks ago, my eyes just light up. I just always feel so damn happy, and I never felt that with pharmacy. Sure, when I first started pharmacy, I felt that way, but I haven't felt that way with pharmacy in a long, long, long time, and the feeling just wore off. I just never felt like I was appreciated. I feel like I wasn't using the skills I really loved. Um, and it doesn't matter how much money I was given. I just was not happy, you know. And a lot of people, the only people that don't understand are the people that The only people that don't understand that feeling are the people that never experienced it. And so you like those people are like, oh, that's a first world problem. But guess what? I mean, at the end of the day, they're not paying for my PharmD. They're not the ones who are going into work and stuff like that. It's my choice, right? And I think that's a thing, first world problem or not. At the end of the day, this is your life, and you have to choose like what you want, and you have to take responsibility of what you want. So it's just very, very interesting as well. Samir says, I'm looking for alternative, Kevin. Hospital and retail are no go for me. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different opportunities out there. I mean, one of the things I would highly suggest for people, look, yes, you can look within your industry, but there's a wealth of industries outside of pharmacy that are really great as well, right? So there's too many factors to just like throw a random career to go into, right? That's what people want, but it's kind of like forcing a kid to do something like being a doctor, being a lawyer, being like the Asian stereotype. Like that in the long run, I don't think is sustainable and just leads to unhappy careers, you know? Considering the verifications I've seen, if you don't push out RX for double digit statin tablets per day, you'll be fine at Kevin E. So funny. Javin Z says, how are you? I worked as a pharmacy tech in college, completed prereqs for pharm and med, but not pivoted to tech. Samir says go to PA school. PA school is actually a lot more competitive than something like pharmacy school and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, it's easy to say go to PA school, but there's a lot of prereqs that you have to do in terms of that as well. It's not as easy as just like go to PA school. Although I do believe right now, based off the data we have from BLS and all that sort of stuff, I believe that is a really great opportunity for a lot of people. But yeah, there's more than that. Hold on for a second. I need to. Oh, turns out this video wasn't monetized. Oh well, screw it. Who cares? Okay. Do you have any house buying advice for house or condo? Don't take real estate advice from me. I'm not doing real estate. I don't want to do real estate. So no, I do not have advice for you. Although the only real estate type of thing I was really interested in was like rental arbitrage. So that's when you secure something like a rental property, or like a rental, like you rent out a place and then you post it up on an Airbnb or corporate housing or something like that, and then you pocket the difference. And if something like COVID happens, you're able to break your contract and move on. But thank God I didn't. Well, I think I'm not sure how well they're doing. People in that industry are doing at the moment. Heard really good things like, hey, it's still really successful at the moment, but who knows? Um, but yeah, I wouldn't take house buying advice from me at this current moment at the right now, Stephen. Jabin says, I'm a PhD in computer science student. Awesome, man. Upvoted. What are your thoughts on simulation theory? What is simulation theory meaning like we're all in a simulation? Is that what simulation theory is? Let me just look it up really quick. So let's do this. Simulation theory.
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. The simulation hypothesis or simulation theory is the proposal that all of reality could in fact be an artificial simulation.
Yeah, okay, so that is simulation theory. Crazy how technology is these days. You can just be like tell Google to look something up as well. So cool stuff. I don't really have any major thoughts on simulation theory. Could it be true? Sure. Could it be not true? Sure. I have no idea. Pedram asks a question to Javin. General science for medical school. Somebody asked about how to get into computer science. Got a degree in bio. Steven, tell us how much can you put down in your age, if you don't mind me asking. Fourplex or duplex are a good way to go, as they give flexibility for moving or renting later. Just to give you some background, Alex does some rental property investing as well. So if you want to ask someone, you can ask Alex. Andrew says, thanks. Billy Lowe says, "Hey Kevin, this is way off topic to what you usually talk about, but how do you deal with negative people who try to bring you down or even racist comments, for example?" Yeah. So I'll speak about this on my behalf, honestly. Like I've had racist comments and like in the pharmacy and shit. Um, I've had I've had obviously like tons of comments in YouTube and all these hater type of things. But I think the older I get, the more I realize like I just don't need those people in my life. Um, I used to like for example, back in the day, like with YouTube, I was just like, yeah, I want everybody to have a voice and shit. But honestly, if you're a dick or you're an asshole, or I just don't like the way that you spoke to, I don't have to have you in my life. So I just remove those comments, block those people, and they're out of my life. And I don't have to deal with that shit, you know? With that being said, um, it's the same thing. Like in the pharmacy, when people made racist comments toward me, I'm just like, great, you don't have to come here. You don't have to fill your prescriptions here. Bye. Right? And people get so perplexed and they're like, why don't you serve them? It's like, why would you even go to a place that you don't even trust based off my skin color or my race or anything like that? And so my advice really is like, if you're dealing with a racist or something like that, just don't deal with them, man. Like, just don't have them in your life. Honestly, like, it's not worth. You're not gonna change their mind in a conversation. It's not your job to change their mind in a conversation. Um, so you just don't deal with them, and that's just how I deal with it. I mean, it's just too toxic to deal with it. Our brains weren't made to deal with all this negativity that you see online and stuff like that as well. And typically people, it's not to say I don't have empathy for those people who are making those comments. You got to be in a really dark place to be doing that sort of stuff too, man. But, in general, like honestly, just don't deal with that shit, Billy. I'm glad that you asked me that, my man. If you want to tell me a little bit what's happening in your situation, more than happy to elaborate, my man. 8 to 10% down for a 100K loan. Hey, Kevin, are you back to six figures, by the way, with your high ticket closing stuff? So at the beginning of the year, yes, I was. But toward COVID, I was still doing relatively well. I wasn't doing like six figures, but I was doing like 80. I was on track for like 80K at that time. But then, especially after, and there's a few different income streams. I just got to add them all up together and stuff. But near the end of the year, honestly, dude, I was just shit in the bed. But that's also because I let go of all my clients to really focus on kind of like the products for this year's launch and stuff like that as well. So I wouldn't say no. I haven't hit the point where I was matching my pharmacy pay, but if it makes sense, like let me kind of break this down as an entrepreneur too. My money is worth a lot more as let's call myself a 1099 independent contractor. The amount of write-offs I can do as well, since my life is so integrated with business, my personal brand, I'm able to write off a lot of things as well. One of the smartest people I know that is really great at doing this is actually Joe. I mean, I was talking to him the other day. He's making a lot of great moves. But if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know exactly what I mean as well. So there's that. Do I wish I made a lot more money? Absolutely, man. Like, absolutely. And that's why sometimes you just have to take a few steps back to make more scalable money, because I was putting in a lot of hours too in terms of high ticket sales. And there's a lot of different factors to consider. It's not a typical like gig where you show like your pay can fluctuate, but when you do really well, you make a lot of money. I mean, we're on track for like 16K months and stuff like that, right? Things like that. But it really depends on your client. I think if, for example, if you are closing for someone who has a really strong referral strategy, really strong organic reach as well, and they're doing paid advertisement, I think you hit the trifecta right there, and you have a recipe for a very lucrative high ticket sales career as well. So, um, despite what you see online as well, um, I mean, I've seen closers go through high months, low weeks. it's never consistent unless you get like a uh kind of like a base, right? So there's that. But that's why I was thinking like maybe it'd be kind of cool to like, but I think the real power of high ticket sales is really the skills that you learn, how to negotiate, how to deal with conflict management, how do you push back without sounding like a dick. Like these are core skills that I learned in high ticket sales. So it's helped me in all sorts of aspects as well. So there's that. Kevin or Steven, look into bigger pockets with their BRRR method. You might be able to buy, rehab, finance, and rent out. Pharmacy was so tough. I worked in pharmacy for 5 years. Pharmacy was brutal. Amen. Pharmacy is really tough, and people don't really realize how tough it was. But you know what else is tough? The YouTube algorithm, y'all. For those 10 people, man, make sure to smash the like button. Steven says, thanks, we'll look into this. Sorry to hear that, Javin. I'm kind of still ticked off about how our credit system works. Pay off a long-term loan, and your credit drops, making the system take their dues on interest. I wish they taught us in our schools. Yeah, I mean, there's that. But also, like, I mean, maybe not right now. A lot of credit card companies are kind of like really risk averse right now. But I mean, one of the easiest ways to increase, I don't know if there's like a new credit system or anything like that. It's been a little bit since I've done it. But one of the things that I used to do was like increase my credit limits every 6 months, and that would increase my credit to debt ratio or your credit utilization rate as well. So that's a really easy way to increase your credit. I mean, honestly, I have really great credit, you know, like I'm 800 plus and stuff like that. I was at like 815 earlier this year. My friend, he's at 850, perfect score, right? I don't think, I mean, after a certain point, it's just like, what's the point of having really great credit, right? If you're not going to use it as well. But it's always there, you know, I never have to worry about it. So there's that. Alex Johnson gives a thumb up. Working in pharmacy was so horrible. Every 5 seconds, something happened to you need to work on. Never catching up to work, no lunch break, customers impatiently tapping their fingers on the counter. Yeah, Jabin, I totally agree with you. And that's the thing. There's so much waste in pharmacy too. If you think about the amount of manpower that is wasted on interruptions and the impact that has on the negative consequences and impact of interrupted work, I don't care what any pharmacy chain says or anything like that. Interrupted work really kills people, right? And it's hard for me to really believe these companies as well, like whether they really prioritize the true safety of their patients as well, knowing this as well, right? I'm sure that they can pull up some study that's saying the opposite, but from a logistical point of view, I mean, just take 2 seconds to just think for a second, right? If things are going off, like it's really hard to, you're having to throttle, like toggle. I think that's a word, toggle a lot, and you're not able to batch tasks. So from an efficiency point of view, it's not very efficient, right? Um, and you're just doing half-ass work, and it's just like this downward spiral. But yeah, I mean, that's just my, like, after learning about business systems and all that, I just see the inefficiency in pharmacy, and it's just like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen, and we're not doing anything about it. Like, I don't want anything to do with this as well. So in my opinion, that's why, like, if when Amazon came up and stuff like that, like, good, they need competition and the system needs to change, right? I don't know if that's going to be good for pharmacists because Amazon is known for working their people pretty damn hard. But, you know, we'll have to see how things change as well. Did you go straight from a non-CS bachelor to PhD for CS, says Javin? In between, I had 5 years of experience as a professional programmer. What country are you ethically from? Well, I was born in the good old USA. But if you're asking like what kind of Asian am I, I'm Chinese ethnically. How do you get your experience with that's a question for probably Javin. Somebody's answer a question about a good way, and this is why I love this community too. Y'all are helping each other out. That's really solid. A friend gave me a job. Hi, Allison Smith says, hi. I'm a pharmacist doing regulatory affairs and for pharma in Australia. I have imposter syndrome in the corporate world. Any tips? Thanks. Yeah, Allison, great question. In terms of imposter syndrome, what are you exactly going through? We'd love to kind of hear more about your situation if you're still here as well. If you feel like you shouldn't be there, one of the things that I always like to do when I'm feeling imposter syndrome, or what my coach tells me to do that I always forget to do, but it's kind of like do a current state, future state analysis and see the gap, right? So if right now you feel like inadequate, right? One thing you have to, I would do is ask yourself, hey, if I really fit in, what kind of skills would I have to have? What kind of um what kind of certification, all these things, like what I need to have to feel like I'm not an imposter. And so, sometimes you can't really come up with any, honestly, and we realize it's all in our head. And then what you do is take all those factors. For example, if it's like skill sets, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I right now? So you're doing a current state analysis as well. And then whatever's in between is your gap. And then you can work toward those things as well. That's just self-assessment. But I mean, even having that discussion with your superior, I think would be helpful too, in terms of seeing what it would take to get promoted or creating a roadmap based off of that in corporate. But don't listen to me for corporate stuff, man. I'm not made for corporate. So there's a lot of behind the scenes games which I don't fuck with, honestly. And yeah, so don't take my tips for corporate. But that's how I would assess myself if I were in your situation, Allison, if that helps. I have a few friends in tech, but the current market seems like it's having a bachelor's CS is the minimum requirement, even if you know someone. How are people so convinced of inflation rather deflation? Well, tell me more about that, Armor Ghost, as well. Let's see. What's that government website with inflation rates? Is it also where's the inflation rates as well? Is it like BLS also? I can't remember. I have it in my course. That's why I know that there's like a calculator on like inflation as well. I can't find it. But I have no idea. I don't know this. I don't know like what it is and stuff like that at the moment. Getting in on from bootcamp or self-taught isn't impossible, but seems more coin flippy. Yeah, I think I've had a few friends who've done a boot camp and stuff as well. And keep in mind, I'm not expert in it, but I'm sure if you rub elbows with the right people as well, you can get it in or some sort of internship as well. It's becoming the more popular type of thing as well in terms of taking a boot camp and things like that. So there's that. Play Plants vs Zombies. I haven't played that game since I was in pharmacy school. We are looking at M1 and M2 supply creation. Please visit Mike Maloney to get a great perspective. We are in a mini deflation right now, but the inflation is coming. Mike Maloney Hidden Secrets on YouTube. Realistically, how has going bald affected your life, says Grayson. Wow, we got someone who follows me for my balding content. Hasn't affected me one bit. Honestly, it's easier to be bald. I still grow hair. You can see my hairline and shit, right? Like, there's a little, yeah, it's receding, but in terms of going bald, it really hasn't affected my life that much. I think more so people are kind of more affected by it personally, like, as well. Like, for me, it's just really easy. I like don't have to go to a barber. I don't have to go to a barber. I don't have to wait in line. I don't have to spend money for haircuts or anything like that. It's relatively, like, I can do it anywhere. It's just so much easier. And so, in my opinion, it's like a very minimalistic lifestyle, honestly, that I kind of just enjoy, honestly, for the most part. Thanks, Kevin. That was really helpful. No problem, Allison. The inflation rate is rigged. They use substitution and other tricks. Do you have any productivity tips / New Year's resolutions? In terms of productivity tips, well, I'll give you 3 right now. It's like, okay, first one, write down all, like, honestly, deep work focus sessions are a game changer. You'll get a lot more done when you're doing more focused work. And that's how I know, like, so many resources are being wasted at like the corporate level across the whole nation because they're not utilizing the power of focus, right? So there's that. That's the first thing. Block off 50 minutes, write one task down that you're going to get that done, work on it, 10 minutes off, go back at it again, do it 3 more times. And I think that's a really solid trick. The second trick is write down all your shit, man. Use something like Notion to track all your tasks. Even go old school as well, like you can do a paper planner and stuff. And I use this all the time. Write down all stuff. Third tip, honestly, is, dude, ask yourself, do I really need to do this shit? A lot of times we confuse ourselves. We tell ourselves the best productivity tip that we can do is like not having to do it at all, right? That way you don't have to waste your energy or anything like that. I think an important thing in terms of people wanting to get more things done, believe me, I was in that rat race as well, just try and get more and more done. And you get that dopamine rush, right? Every single time that you check something off, right? But I think really having a vision or a why behind everything, why you're doing everything, will help you with the latter question, like the latter thing, in terms of, do I really need to do this as well right now, right? What are the implications of not handling this at the moment? So that's kind of like my thoughts on productivity at the moment. What's your thoughts on Bitcoin? I'm glad it's up. I'm glad it's up. Yeah, and I'm not telling people go into it right now. Honestly, it might pump and dump again. Like, I mean, when so many people are when everything is like a bull market and when everything's rallying and stuff, like, that's not the time to invest. That's the time to be very cautious, honestly. I mean, it happens if you follow day trading, like, if you follow day trading charts, right? You draw your lines really quick. You can always see, like, right at the peak, it's gonna dip, and it might like bounce, like, and go higher, or it might just keep on going down to the next line that you drew out as well. So there's that. Maybe I'll maybe I'll, like, in the future, maybe I'll draw lines and stuff like that too. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. What community are you part of besides the YouTube community, and how does it change your everyday outlook on happiness? Well, great question, Steven. I think in terms of communities, I'm part of a few communities as well. So there's like, yeah, I guess there's a YouTube community, but honestly, I mean, I reach out to the people I really want to talk to as well, right, in this community. So I guess there's that community, but I'm in a lot of paid communities. So, like, I'm part of the Rich and Niche Academy as well. That's a really great community for beginning digital marketers, things like that. So I think that's a really, if you're into digital marketing, you're into this remote digital lifestyle, I think that's a great community to join. I'm trying to create my own community, FYI, later. I have someone that's going to be building that out for me as well later this year, relatively soon. He says it's only going to take 3 days, but I'm just more concerned about supporting that community as well. But other than that, the other community I'm part of is Ali Abdal's Inner Circle. So I think that's a great community. It's for people in that YouTube, like, ecosystem and stuff, and I met so many great people and with bigger channels, and it's really, really great. I'm part of a mastermind for, it's like a consultant accelerator program by Terry Rice. That's a really great program, honestly, where he teaches you how to monetize your knowledge. It's a lot of digital marketing people for the most part. some business development people in there, but they're basically trying to monetize their knowledge by creating programs and doing speaking and stuff. It's really for people who have a expert expertise in like a particular field as well. So there's that. But in terms of everyday happiness or outlook, I think being part of a group that really just gets you, that you don't have to explain yourself every single time, is just really, really refreshing. And you don't feel alone all the time. You can talk to these people on a very real basis. I'm also part of the Asian Hustle Network, but I haven't been really, really into it for a while. But I think like one of the reasons why so many of us were really devastated during COVID is because a lot of our relationships just didn't like we just didn't have that aspect, and we were forced to do that online. For me, I've been doing online relationships for a long time, so it didn't really bother me too much. But I know for a lot of people, it's very different and very hard for people as well. But having people that understand you, that care about you, I think really helps me put things in perspective. And it also teaches me about patience as well, right? I get to see the in real life journey of people as well, of them growing, of them not growing, of them struggling. One of my really good friends, she's in the group as well, the one I just mentioned, and she said, what did she say? Let me open up my text. Oh shit, my phone is about to die. Fuck. Let's see. Um, she mentioned I had this overwhelming sense of urgency about work and where is it? Oh yeah. I was like, what's been on your mind? She was telling me that she's feeling pretty down, mixed emotions, spending time with her family. And she's like, I'm just feeling overwhelmed by work and expectations. Perfectionism's stopping me from starting, feeling like a fraud. And this person, she's making a lot of money. She has her coaching clients. She has everything in the world, but she still feels this way. And her clients are super, super happy too. So it happens to everyone. And so by having a community where you can just rely on like you can just go to people for support, honestly, that's changed my life. I mean, that's how I met all these like top performers and stuff in like these random different fields, is because of these online communities and stuff too. I mean, online programs have changed my life. I don't know how many times I can say that, but they really have. You know, anything that you want to learn, it's almost like the Matrix, honestly. You can just learn really freaking quickly as well. So yeah. But obviously, it takes you need to do due diligence for, just like how you research different colleges, you need to do the same thing for these programs too, to make sure it's a fit, or to make sure to know what you're exactly getting as well. Ooh, you don't look like you have to worry about being bald anytime soon, says Alex. Pretty funny. Yikes, typos. What are some of the first things that you want to learn, you want to know about a gal other than she's an ABG? Man, if she's an ABG, there's nothing I need to know. No, just kidding. I think in terms of the things that I really look for in a girl other than being ABG-ish is like, I think one of the things that I really relate to is like a sense of ambition. Maybe like I really like entrepreneurship a lot. It doesn't have to be entrepreneurship driven or something like that, but there's this level of ambition. And the reason why that's important for me is because I think of this person like, I'm not saying you should marry ABG or anything like that, but like I'm talking about lifetime partner. Like honestly, I think about the mother of my children being raised by this person, and if I die, something happens to me, I want to make sure that they're in a good place as well, and that's something really important to me. I think a little bit of like ratchetness. I think like listen, if they listen to hip hop, and like not the like I listen to Drake type of hip hop, you know, like everybody listens to Drake, all right. Um, but I don't know, someone who's kind of like into hip hop, I think tells me a lot about their personality. Someone who is in the digital marketing space tells me a lot about their personality. There's a lot of that, you know. Also like people who are really into coffee and shit. Like I don't know. There's just these certain things. Like if you do jujitsu, it tells me a lot about your personality. I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I just like want someone who's also high performing, who gets it, you know. Someone who I don't have to explain like why am I doing these hours? What am I doing? It's like I just yeah, but then again, don't listen to me. I have really shitty relationships, man. Like don't listen to my advice. You know, I'm not married. Austin Hill says, "Hey Kev, I was just thinking about joining Dan Locke's program to hone my closing skills, but every time I look at CoffeeZilla's review about Dan Locke, it makes me feel skeptical. Is it worth it?" Um, that's really up for you to decide as well. Like, I'm not going to tell you to do it or not do it. The reason why I don't promote it anymore is because the heavy promoting, like the heavy marketing about it. Um, yeah, I mean, like, I got a lot of value out of it at the time because I was a first adopter and I met a lot of cool people at the time, but I feel like the community's changed. I don't feel like everything that CoffeeZilla brought up is entirely accurate. I think he does a lot of exaggerations just to make the content really clickable and likable. Believe it or not, guys, CoffeeZilla is making a shit ton of money off those ads as well, right? I guarantee you that as well. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I would say do your research. Personally, if you're my really close friend, I wouldn't tell you to do it. If you want to dive into closing and stuff, like, dude, I'm creating free content on YouTube. I'm going to be launching a one-on-one program too. So if you're interested in that, um, message me on DMs. But honestly, like, really decide whether you want to do closing or not. I have a whole playlist on closing as well. I gotta rename the playlist and make it more public, but yeah, DM me as well, Austin, if you're kind of curious about life as a closer as well. Yeah, I was just curious about his thoughts. Bro, you're so awesome. Thanks, says Javin. Thank you, man. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it, y'all. I'm slightly looking toward tax season. With my lack of hours and 401k contributions, I don't think I have much to get taxed low. Guess that's a good thing or pretty bad thing. There's always this like really great saying, like, dude, if I think Ramit says it like if you're getting taxed, that's a good problem, right? That means you're making money. If you're not getting taxed, that's always a bad problem as well. So there's that. Steven says you don't need a program to learn how to close. You're already great at what you do. Go kill it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. So if you are experienced closer, it's up to you. I say, like, honestly, I mean, I've reinvested into programs, books, and stuff on closing, and I found that they help me in terms of picking up one thing. Think about it like this: if you're an experienced closer, you have a client, you buy a program, even if you can just learn one thing, and that would help your conversion rate. Wouldn't that pay off for pay off itself, right? So I think as a closer or being in high ticket sales, you need to constantly invest into yourself. All the best closers I know do it, right? Like one of the top closers on the previous account I was on, I mean, he invested into like a lot of different people. Although, do they always pay off? No, but you know that's the risk that you take. But you need to have that like just like how we have with pharmacy continuing education, you need to reinvest into your education. That's what I believe. But I mean, take it with a grain of salt. Steven, thanks, says NZ Trading. Yeah, you back live again. I enjoy your lives. Keep up the good work. Thank you, yummy, yummy. Really appreciate it, my man. Happy New Year, Kevin. Random question. Are you on TikTok? No, I'm not on TikTok. I don't do TikTok, honestly. There's too many platforms. Maybe I'm missing out, but you know what? It's okay. I don't need to be on TikTok at the moment. Like, I'm on way too many platforms at the moment, so I can't focus on all of them at this time. But if you're a new creator, it might be really great to be on TikTok as well. Bro, I'm going to be a pharmacist this year. Can you give me tips? That's a very broad question. What are you looking for, my man? Drake slaps when I'm sad. Drake actually makes a lot of bangers, dude. Like a lot of bangers. I've been listening to Drake back even when he was in Degrassi and shit. You know, like he wasn't even known as Drake. So there's that. But it's kind of crazy how Drake has really grown as like his brand, pokes fun of himself all the time. Dude, even in like that the pop star video, he has like that heart like freaking cut into his head and his hair. And then he also has it was so funny, like the Chris Brown video with Drake and stuff, the snake, the dance battle thing. I always laugh out of that. He's really good at he has a really great personal branding. I always love with that as well. I love to work with you as inbound closer. Do you have any tips? I'm interested. Well, what are you looking to do? Yummy yummy, that's the first thing as well. Is Kaizen closing open yet? Not quite yet. It's I'm putting the final touches on first iteration. So I am I will let you guys know on like my community tab here as well, and also Instagram too. So if you're not following me on those, make sure to follow me on those platforms, just because I will announce when my one-on-one coaching is up and running. I'm going to do a beta test, FYI, for my one-on-one coaching. So because I want to test out the process, I want to make sure that people get results. I'm probably only going to take 3 to 5 students. Haven't quite decided quite yet. And I'm going to make the price point very irresistible as well, because again, it'll be the lowest it'll be, since it's kind of like a beta test. And so I want to make sure I get proof of concept as well. But if you guys are interested in that, let me know. But yeah, follow me on Instagram or DM me as well. Austin Hill says, thank you, brother. No problem. I would love to work with you one-on-one. Where can I contact you? You can contact me on Instagram. Actually, funny thing, guys, I actually have it. So I actually made a link tree recently. So I think I made this. One of the links is dead, but these are some of the cool things as well. Yeah. So if you're interested in like one-on-one, let's yeah, DM me on Instagram, and then I'll send you to an application form and stuff. And when it's out, I will let you guys know as well. So there's that. But yeah, I built this shit out. And it was frustrating the fuck out of me as well. I have this stupid Instagram thing as well. So there's that. Has everything, all my handles. I'm on Twitter now too, believe it or not. I've been posting on LinkedIn, Twitter. LinkedIn is going to be major for me, because I want to share more of my content on high ticket sales, high ticket closing. I was definitely on I was on a recent virtual summit to speak on it. So you're going to really see me blow up in the high ticket sales world. I'm going to have more and more speaks as well. But I mean, I was even talking to a CoffeeZilla fan, one of my friends. He's a huge CoffeeZilla fan, and he was talking about, he's kind of like not trashing on programs, but hated the ClickFunnels, two comma club, and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, honestly, courses, programs, coaching, if you can deliver, it's a transformational program, and they've changed my life over and over again. Coaching has changed my life, like the way I look at YouTube before I took Ali's program, and now it's totally different day and night. The way I looked at online programs before I took Scott Alford's high ticket incubator, and after, totally different. Even though Dan Locks, I met really great people, some of my closest friends ever from that program. But I mean, in terms of the sales part, I mean, I had to look for opportunities myself. It was a real grind. And then not only that, I almost lost my contract, or I almost had my contract terminated. But because of that, it really fueled the energy for me to get better. And that's when I went from bottom, like I forget how many salespeople there were on high ticket salespeople or closers on the team, but went from bottom to like top 10 to top 5. And I was I was like one of the most profitable people on the team using my processes. So, well, it's not my processes. It's like monkey see what monkey see monkey do, I think, when you're modeling based off what other people are doing. But you know how some salespeople are super slime, like they're super salesy. I can't do the super salesy type of tactics. It just doesn't work, right? And so my approach is more consultative. It's more professional, the way that I believe that I should be. So yeah, that's just my vibe as well. Um, let's see. I'm really interested in high ticket sales and high ticket closing. Do you have any tip? Oh, yeah, you already asked that. Kevin, what's your opinion on Cardi B's new coronavirus record dropping soon now? That's there's a coronavirus part 2 in the UK and variant part 3 being released in Africa. I don't know the whole Cardi B thing going on right now. I don't follow Cardi B at the moment. Does Dan Locke really tell you kiss money and establish a loving relationship with money? You don't have to kiss money. You don't have to give up your firstborn either. But I think I will tell you guys this. After taking that course, it really made me take a look at kind of the money habits as well, right? I think, okay, so here's my opinion about Dan Locke's course. I think I'll go over the pros. Everything I said in that video is legit. Like that's how I felt. If you guys watch me, then you guys know that I'm very authentic. I always share what I'm truly thinking about programs. So in terms of Dan Locke's, what I really liked was the initial community of it, kind of like the personal development through it. Because in order to do sales, you have to look at your money habits and not project those fears or your money values on people on the phone, because not everybody's the same, right? So I realized for me, I was very conservative with like a lot of my money. No, I wouldn't say very conservative, but I definitely had a fear of selling. And I still actually think sometimes, believe it or not, guys, I still think I have a fear of selling, right? Sometimes I'll be very real with you guys. Sometimes, like a lot of my conversations with my coach too, is like, I'm just like I just don't want to release a Dan Locke type of program and shit like that. Like the whole motivation behind Kaizen closing and my philosophy on closing was that I want to fill the gap in that and fulfill those promises that a lot of these programs like Dan Locke's and stuff, and give the real deal of what I learned and what worked and what didn't work. And regardless if you do closing or not, it's going to improve your confidence in terms of communication, because that's what closing really is. It's being able to communicate in a very tactful way, right? You don't have to hammer close someone. It's like, dude, you can do it in a non-salesy professional type of way. And if it wasn't for the people I learned from, and if it wasn't for the consultants I learned from too, I don't think I would have ever closed, honestly. I think I was really scared of closing. But now, like, it's just like, dude, it's really crazy. And it's something I feel super passionate about, in terms of closing and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's not like, here's the thing, man. People think it's like you can get someone to buy who has no desire. No, it's not that. It's just like, dude, they're on the phone for a reason. They need to solve a particular problem. What you're doing is really qualifying them, really helping them identify their primary goal, their primary challenge, their future state, and the gap of what's preventing them from getting here to there. And then all you're doing is pretty much providing a solution that helps bridge the gap. And you break down the people, you break down the processes, you break down the tools of how they're going to get there. And through these questions, you are, I don't want to say micro committing, because that's a very like sleazy, but you're just being very real with them. It's like, hey, are you absolutely sure that you want to do this, right? Are you absolutely sure that you want to do this? And it's built in throughout the script as well. Why is this important to you? The way I like to think about it is almost like you're interviewing for Harvard. Those I talk about this in my virtual summit too. I'll have that up like relatively soon. I gotta wait till after the summit is done. But basically, what you're doing what you're doing is just really making sure the right people are getting in your program, because what people don't realize about closing is, guess what, your deal doesn't count if, well, your client won't be too happy if you get a client from hell. Yeah, there's a level of brand integrity. You have to protect the brand too. Like if Harvard let anyone in, do you think their brand would be tarnished? Absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't know how Harvard is these days, but back in the day, Harvard was pretty prestigious. So there was that. So there's that. Um, let's see. Nicole Caitlin says, "What are your sources of income? How do you start the great reach on YouTube?" Nicole from Indonesia. Well, great question, Nicole. So in terms of sources of income, there's a few, right? So obviously I have this YouTube thing. That's one source of income. I get Amazon affiliates. There's another source of income. I have like older affiliates, like not Dan Locks anymore, but I have like OmniShaver. I have that. I have like a few others. I have Ali Abdal's, but I haven't been paid out on that at all. Not yet. So I gave an hour kind of review on it because I really truly love the course. And this year I'm just trying to identify more things that I really really love that I can do reviews on as well, right? So recently I did a review on my ZV-1 camera. It's one of my favorite cameras. I did a review on Panda Planner, one of my favorite planners. I'm going to do a review on the 5-minute journal as well. So that's affiliate income, right? And AdSense, right? We'll cover that. And then also I have some old deals that I closed with my friend's digital marketing agency. We still get recurring commission each month for it. So there's recurring commission from that as long as I keep the client and the client's super happy. I actually referred one of my friends, and then yeah, he decided to give me a brokerage for that, so that was really cool. So that's another source of income. Um, there was my high ticket sales, like when I was on the phones a lot. There was that income, but I've kind of transitioned it over to high ticket consult, like more high ticket sales or inbound closing consulting. So I'm using all the skills that I learned from on the phones to kind of build out processes, and that's more my gigs. I also have kick-ass investing as well, so that the core sales as well, teaching people how to invest as well. So there's that. What other income streams are there? I think that's majority. I mean, you can include my investments, I guess, but I don't really liquidate my investments for the most part. So technically, there's that. I'm not gonna do stupid ones like, "Hey, my bank account is another source of income." That's like reaching, bro. Like you're not even breaking inflation with that cash, man. Like, yeah, I don't count that. And I think that's everything at the moment. What I'm trying to do is expand my product service offerings. So again, I one of the things that I'm going to be experimenting with this year is helping people develop their high ticket programs. So that will be another income stream as well. There's also coaching as well. So I want to do coaching, and then I want to link those. My goal, I'm not promising anything, but my goal is really to establish these connections and then link people to real opportunities where they can practice their closing, get some experience, and then start leveling up as well. So there's that. So that's the vision, because that was one of the biggest gaps for a high ticket closer, is that a lot of people, they would take this program and they'd be just left in the dust. Now, my goal is really to help people find work or get experience through high ticket closing as well. Once you have that initial experience, I think and you have that live, it really takes, I would say, like honestly, 100 hours to 100 calls to get decent at it. Maybe it took me about 100 calls to get decent. Like it took me maybe 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, maybe when I first started. So I think that's kind of like, it depends how many calls you take, but you know, it took me a lot longer because I had to figure everything out. But when you have everything and you're leveraging someone who's a lot more knowledgeable than you, then it works a lot better as well. So there's that. So those are all the income streams I can think of at the moment. Um, probably not a related question to the others, but my girlfriend and I are going to different colleges. Should I just cut her off? Also, is nursing good at? Wow, that is a very sorry guys. That is a very interesting question, by the way. Um, let's see. Your girlfriend and I mean, I hate to say it, like a lot of those relationships in college, they don't work out. I'm not saying yours doesn't work out. I know people from high school that are still together, high school sweethearts, and they made it through college and all that sort of stuff. I don't think just because you guys go to different schools, it's gonna be the end all be all. Just know, keep in mind, my relationship, I have a bad track record for relationships, but keep in mind, any relationship will take work, right? And so I think if you're willing to make the effort to see each other, to commit to her, and she's willing to do the same, I don't see you guys having a problem. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to require work, right? So as long as you guys have open and honest communication, I think that's an important thing, right? So, and nursing really depends. BLS says it's a great career at the moment, so there's all that. I want to throw you guys a question. I'm going to answer your question, Austin, in a second, but in terms of content, what are some content that you guys would love to see going into the new year? What content would help you? I'm thinking about doing more content to like on productivity, more on business, more on my personal development side as well, like how I'm handling my mental health or productivity or just life as a life as a digital nomad almost, right? I feel like I'm a digital nomad, but it's like kind of I'm not really a digital nomad because currently I'm not like in Bali and shit, and that's where all digital nomads go. That's the first place that they go. I haven't done that quite yet, but yeah, I've created this kind of interesting lifestyle I at the moment. So there's that. Um okay. Oh, in Kev, since you have a skill set now, are you pretty much free 9 to 5 from the rat race? Absolutely, man. Although I won't lie to you. When I decided to take a step back from closing and stuff to work on Kaizen closing and my coaching program and do more consulting, it really kind of scared the shit out of me because I didn't know how it would go. Right? I was always I was a little bit concerned at the time. I was like, man, am I going to be able to do this? Like, is this going to work out? Things like that. But that's why I hired the business coaches because I want to make sure. Am I fucking crazy? Am I fucking crazy from stepping away from like making 16K per like month and shit? But it really goes back to the point of me wanting to help people, to impact people, to transform people's lives as well. So, yeah. And keep in mind when I say 16K, it does not mean I was making 16K every single month, you know. That's like one of the good months. I've had really bad months too. It happens to everyone. But that's why I'm saying up and down with sales. And you have to be used to that. And that's where the experience comes in as well, right? Contents about the let's see, I'm gonna screenshot these. Austin says contents about the mindset. I feel like so many people go into business with the wrong mindset. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, that's why I'm seeking therapy, man, because there's a lot of internal type of things where, especially in sales, it will come out too. Like, not so much anymore, but when I first started, is like these people pleasing type of tendencies. Like when somebody asks you a question, oh, if you answer it right away, right? Because you're a good boy, right? But and that's not how it works, right? Like when people ask me questions, I had to really get used to this. It's like, well, Kevin, how much is this gonna cost? And I would just reply something like, oh yeah, it's gonna cost $5,800, right? Or it's gonna cost $5,000. And that's the wrong question to ask. What you want to do is understand where they're coming from, right? So how I would reply these days is like, okay, so Austin, it sounds like you want to know the price. Before we dive into that, tell me a little bit about your situation. Where are you at right now, and where do you want to be? let's focus on that first and we'll get to price. Sound like a plan? Done. Right? It's like taking the time to understand first. Something that Asian parents aren't very good at. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the mindset needs to be rewired where honestly, we have this joke with Asian families and stuff. It's like, dude, American families or white families, they're always talking back to their parents. You gotta be able to kind of do that, like yeah. And so it took me a while to kind of understand that as well. And it was only through much trial and error and practice where I've been able to do that as well. So there's that. Um, Unfortunately, my whole household of 5 tested positive for COVID. Everyone works in healthcare and was bound to happen. Luckily, our symptoms are not too severe. 23 million cases counted so far in the US. I'm really sorry, Bob Dole. I hope you're feeling better, my man. I have questions about finding closing gigs because they don't tell you where to find them, so I'm really confused with that. I have a few videos on that, Yummy, about where to find high ticket closing gigs. Ultimately, I think the best way, I mean, yeah, you can apply to jobs and stuff like that, but ultimately, I believe the best closing gigs, they're by word of mouth. I get approached all the time, by the way, like for closing gigs and stuff. It's just that I just don't want to take them at the moment because I know how much work that would be, and my focus right now is developing and documenting these processes too. So, which takes a lot of time. Honestly, I've been working for them. What October? I left my one of my major ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club. Oh God, I hate ClickFunnels. By the way. Um. Anyways, I feel some sort of way toward that, but I terminated my contract with a client, and then that was October, and then I went on my own way since that time, and so now it's January. So I've been working for the last 8 to 12 weeks on this, man. A lot of work went into it. I'm going to have a lot of applicants come in after the 31st or whenever that virtual summit is. I got to build out those assets in that funnel. But yeah, it's going to be really great stuff, honestly. I'm really excited. Taking people's questions is honestly refreshing, so I like to hear your viewpoints and your availability. But another type of content that would help people is how to get a therapist, how to get a mentor. That's really great content. I'm going to screenshot that, Steven. Yeah. Well, I think like, and I'll answer that really quickly too. Why not? I mean, we're together right now. But in terms of mentor, like, okay, so mentor and therapist, right? So let's talk about mentor for a second. Mentors don't have to be that old fucking guy on that really high mountain. It's not like Kill Bill where you have to go see Bak Mei or wherever, right? Like you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Sometimes mentors, they're just really good people that you just vibe with. And they might have this one skill set that they're really great at. Some of my best mentors are just my friends. I don't call them my mentors, but what is a mentor realistically? It's someone that you can learn from. They have a particular skill set that you want to learn about. Maybe you don't want their whole entire life, but for example, one of my friends, amazing at communication, amazing at processes, amazing at breaking down really complex topics. He's a consultant, right? So a lot of those skill sets and communications and all that, I take from him and I learn from him. And he was just my really great friend. We hang out all the time. We flew out to Texas. We grabbed barbecue together. I learned from him. I consider him my mentor and also my very good friend. Another mentor is Richinich. I promoted his program a few times on marketing, but I look up to him because he's been able to go from rags to riches in a very short amount of time and he put in a lot of work. I was really inspired by his work ethic, how fast he was able to scale, how he was able to create a community of digital marketers. Such a close community and stuff. I don't call him my mentor, but I'll learn. Ironically, I don't learn digital marketing from him. I like, because a lot of the stuff is like very like, I know it already. I know it from an intellectual level, but I watch his execution and I learn from him. And I'm like, damn, how is he able to get so much done? How does he stay so focused? That's another person. A new person so I met these people online. I met Rich and Niche through my other friend who I met on YouTube. We were creating content, and he's like, "Dude, you gotta meet Rich." I was like, "Okay, gotta meet Rich." So I was a warm introduction. I shot like we talked right around when my dad passed away. Actually, I was friends with his wife, and then my other friend, I mean Ali Abdal. I wouldn't say I'm buddy buddy with him quite yet, but I've talked to him one on one and stuff like that. We go into DMs and stuff, but it's because I bought his program and we built up a connection, right? I paid for that highest tier so I could get access to him. So that's a good example of paid. I met my consultant friend through, believe it or not, Dan Locks, right? So freaking funny. But not even that, like even my everyday friends too. I'm trying to think of an everyday friend that I really look up to as well, that I go to for advice. I'll tell you one person. I mean, I don't consider him, let's see. There's a lot more than that. I mean, there's like Tony Lamb. He was a Shark Tank guy. There's another guy. Like, there's just random people I met through Asian Hustle Network, and it really is just building up really great friendships. And how you do it is like, you don't pitch people. You really get to know them on a very personal level. I spend a lot of time just chopping it up with random people. Cynthia Sandoval, dude, I met her through a mutual friend. I messaged her. I was like, hey, someone told me that we need to connect and I want to just chop it up with you. That's how we met, right? And she's been on my live stream a few times as well. So you can meet new people all the time. It's really not that hard. If you need help, let me know. But that's the secret. Like, honestly, that is the genuine secret. And like, honestly, like, yeah, because of that, I mean, when people think of high ticket sales, they always think of me. And because, I mean, I'm not trying to pitch anything, I'm just trying to be super genuine. I'm just trying to help people, man. And that's just who I am deep down inside. And so it's a bit of all that. It's kind of woo woo, but that's just that's everything as well. In terms of therapists, I want an Asian therapist. I wanted someone that understood my culture, like Asian culture, at least right, Asian culture, and someone who, yeah. So that was like my only criteria. Someone who's younger, and I found my therapist Rose, and she's really amazing. So yeah, that's kind of like how I found a therapist. Opinion on psychedelics, I'll speak from a hypothetical point of view. I'm actually very open to psychedelics. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot and I go to Eddie Bravo's school, so all the gear is like ayahuasca gear, right? Um, I believe that these have very therapeutic. You can use these for therapeutic use. There's a lot of people saying that it really helps. I've never done them, but I'll just put it like this: I'm very open to receiving as well in terms of that. So there's that. Allison says, "How do you ever feel like you need to juggle wanting to create your own family versus building your own career?" Yeah, guys. I never really told you guys this, but if you watch my videos, like my most recent video, you guys know that I'm going through a breakup. Is it finalized? I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. For a long time, guys, I spent a lot of time on my career and wanting to grow my career. When I was in pharmacy, I don't care what anybody says. People say I was a bad pharmacist or anything like that, but I was always very committed to my patients. I never took vacation. I was very committed to my employer, and I never took vacations, man. And so, like, because I always wanted to level up as soon as possible. I want to be a pharmacy, not manager, but I want to be a pharmacy supervisor. That was the dream. I never hit that goal. Things pivoted as well. But it is very hard deciding whether to start a family, to date, or anything like that. I feel like the previous relationship, it wasn't her fault. It was like really mine, honestly, because I didn't really put the effort into a relationship like that. I think part of me wanting to work so much is very a deeper reason, honestly, where I felt like because of my relationship with my dad, my upbringing, I just never felt like I was really good enough to have a really healthy relationship. Real talk, guys. Like this is the real shit, right? And yeah, I would just work myself to death, go through massive burnout over and over again. She would invite me. She would be so supportive, the sweetest person in the world. But it's kind of like I was more long. I just had a different vision. It's just like for me, pleasure on myself, enjoying myself is very hard because I'm always thinking about the future. I'm thinking about my future kids. I'm thinking about being there for my children when I am ready to have children. It's in my 5 year plan to have children, by the way. Like I want four, ideally, or sorry, not four kids. A family of four. Um, yeah, and that's why I work so hard all the time, guys. So, yeah, I struggle with it, and I don't have the answer to how to create a sustaining family, but I think it's all about focus, right? Especially when you're single and young. I mean, I think that's the time to double down on everything, but who knows? Yummy says which website? Um, I don't know what you're referring to. Are you referring to my high ticket sales thing? Um, if you're interested in high ticket sales coaching, just DM me through Instagram and I'll reply to you and we can talk more. Clamaris says, "What's up? What's up, Clamaris?" Hypothetical POV. Yeah. I believe, I believe that I'm pretty sure that most all psychedelics are Schedule One, right? So hypothetically, I would be very open to going to a retreat and stuff like that, and all that. But that's hypothetical. It's not saying I would do it. It's not saying I wouldn't do it. It's just hypothetical. But my prediction for the future is that a lot of these psychedelics will be legalized. Honestly, just like how marijuana was well, it's not federally legal yet, but it's headed toward that direction, right? Our generation is, I mean, all these people are just all these older this older generation is just, I hate to say it, they're gonna die someday, right? And our next generation is gonna step in, and I believe these things because a lot of us younger folk, we believe in we have more progressive type of views as well, right? It's in terms of recreational use, psychedelic use. I mean, Joe Rogan is a perfect example. He's like 50 years old and he's of that generation, and they're very open toward things like ayahuasca, toward magic mushrooms, to all these things, psilocybin, you know? So that's just my thoughts. Um, do you feel like you could get back together with this girl, or have you both moved on? Um, I'll tell you guys this, man. I don't know the future of me and this girl, to be honest with you. I know that for me, I feel this deep sadness when it was kind of when she mentioned that she didn't want to be together. She didn't view me the same way anymore. Um, yeah, that's just how I felt. Um, I mean, I have dreams about her still and stuff like that, and that's how I know it deeply affects me. And but I've that's if you're wondering, like if you check out my Instagram, sometimes I'll post like some spiritual stuff, and so um I think what it comes down to is just really identifying what do I want in a partner, what are my relationship goals, what do I want, because I'm the male in the relationship. I have to really map this shit out, and if I really want it to work out or any relationship to work out, I need to have clarity about what I want, and that's been a very very tough road for me, and that's why I'm getting therapy at the moment. I would say, hypothetically, that's one of the reasons why I'm open to ayahuasca and other things like that as well, to gain clarity on that. I'm not saying it'll help me gain clarity, but whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I believe that, I mean, whether it's true or not, I believe that the universe will work, is always working for you, not against. So just surrendering into that is really important. But I'm doing my part of reading different relationship books at the moment, talking to my therapist, journaling what I really want in my relationship, writing down a vision, things like that. I've actually read a lot of bad relationship books. You want to know one that I don't really like? This one, Relationship Goals by Michael Todd. Don't recommend this. It was like rated very highly on Amazon, but since I'm not a super Christian, I'm not religious and stuff. It just felt like a whole preach fest to me, and I was just like, man, I'm not feeling this book. I read majority of it. I think I got up to page 150 or something like that, and I was like, I can't. I'm not really feeling this book too much. Yes, very true. Clarity on what you want is key. Yeah, just like how I do my vision, my 5-year vision, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. But I think the difficulty behind relationships for me, guys, is just like, all honesty, I think the difficult part, it's knowing that I grew up with a lot of crappy relationships around myself. Like, I've never really seen a really healthy, great relationship. And I'm not talking, when I'm saying this, obviously, intellectually, I know that there's a lot of great relationships out there. When I'm saying this, I'm talking about the internalization or the emotional feeling I get. It's just like, if I date, or if I get into a committed relationship, the same thing will happen as mom and dad. The same thing will happen as auntie and uncle, right? Like, where they would always fight and all that sort of stuff. And it's very traumatizing. My mom tells me these stories, man, where I used to, like, it was in the same room back then, this back area. There used to be a bed here, actually. And when my parents would fight, basically, I would go onto the top bunk and just hide under the covers. That's what my mom used to tell me all the time when they used to fight really hardcore. And a lot of time, my dad would just take his anger out on me, and I had to deal with that a lot. And so, I'm not saying that's right, but it's just kind of like, I just don't want the same fate for my children, honestly. And that's just how I feel, you know. So yeah, deep talks, y'all. Deep talks. Yeah, this is kind of like the deep talks I have behind the scenes with a lot of my friends. Do you guys like this kind of content? Like, when I talk about stuff like this, like, very curious, man. Because I don't really talk about this on my YouTube videos, which I was talking to my editor a bit more. I was like, this 2021, I want to start sharing a lot more personal things and share more about my journey rather than these freaking 3-point videos. Like, fucking hate that shit, you know? But it's what people want, right? They want concise information as well, right? That's what they're looking for. And so I have to be able to cater to both. Like, I have to be able to tell a story and integrate those 3 points on. I think Matt Diavella is really great at that, actually. Man, I made like this fruit smoothie earlier this morning. Man, it's kind of Allison Smith. Thanks for your insight into relationships. I'm more ambitious and more focused on self-improvement/growth than my partner, and it causes a lot of conflict. How do I get him to do the same things as I do? That's really hard. You can't force someone to enjoy the same things as you want. My previous partner, I'm very into jiu-jitsu, okay? and she did jujitsu. She was wearing the gi. She didn't like it, but she got really into kickboxing and stuff. So can't force somebody to like what you do. Sometimes that's not always a bad thing, and like I said, take my advice with a grain of salt. But sometimes being different is really great. So I think the most important thing, something that I wish I did sooner, is I wish I took a 5 love languages quiz a lot sooner, and also took this quiz on coping mechanism. Oh fuck, I can't remember what it's called. Attachment styles. There's a great test on attachment styles. Maybe I'll do a video on it. But that was really important, and it just helped me understand the way she ticked, the way that she wanted to be communicated, and all that as well. So it's like learning. I was reading the book. Honestly, the book was just all right so far, but I'm just really going through it because I think it's very important for myself to really invest into learning more about romantic relationships and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, for example, I'm straight up acts of service, and I'm not a quality time person. Time doesn't really matter to me at the moment. I think it used to, but these days it doesn't. I think my primary one is acts of service, and then gifts or something like that. I think too. I think that's 1 and 2, which really blew my mind, right? Because I think it really, at the end of the day, actions really mean a lot to me. Her top 2 is like acts of service, which is number 1, and then quality time is hers. And so that is very, very tough. That is very, very tough when we don't see eye to eye. Like when I'm very protective of my time and she needs time, you can see the gap right there. So there's that. What book are you currently reading that you do like? And yes, content is good for the soul. There's a lot of books, man. This book, Psycho Cybernetics, is a really great book. I really like this book right now. Not for everyone. But it's a very good personal development book. What are you looking for? Are you looking for business, relationships? What are you looking for at the moment? Because there's a few good books at the moment. Also, just watch Disney's movie Soul, and it's great. I recommend it. All right, I'll check it out, my man. How do you explore and find career paths? I currently have an MBA in pharmaceuticals, but I have no idea what to do with it. Yeah. I think a great way to start off is like taking something like a Strength Finder 2.0 test. In my opinion, let me show you mine as well. Or I don't know if I can show you guys it, because last time they dinged me for like not stealing the content, but for showing the content. So I'll read this out to you guys, right? Hypothetically, I'm reading out my Strength Finders 2.0 test, right? If you upgrade to the highest one, there's a part where it says ideas for action, and it says ideas for action. Select a vocation in which your individualization talents can be both used and appreciated, such as counseling, supervising, teaching, writing human interest articles, or selling. Your ability to see people as unique individuals is a special talent. So basically it was telling me to do consulting, that type of thing as well, right? And selling. And so that's where I went into as well, right? Become an expert at describing your own strengths and styles. For example, answer questions as, what's the best praise that you ever received? This isn't useful, but basically you can see like it helps you identify what careers you potentially be good at as well. There's also another thing as let's see, let me find. Oh yeah, my restorative Strength Finder says you might particularly enjoy roles in medicine, consulting, computer programming, or customer service. I kind of enjoy all those type of things as well. I think that's what I enjoyed initially in retail pharmacy, but it just got overwhelming. I just didn't like using those skills at the time. And so it kind of goes into what would make you feel fulfilled, happy. I really enjoy it. Like, I think that's important. For example, on input, it says teaching, research, journalism. Another test that you can take is like, it's free, it's an Ikigai test, but I don't believe it's always the best test out there as well. All right. Oh boy, it's almost 11 o'clock over here. So we're going to wrap up. Any final questions, drop them in the comments. I'll answer them before I head out. Make sure to like this video if you haven't already. Man, we got 20 people in that one asshole who downvoted. Whatever. Just kidding. Not asshole. I mean, they just didn't like my content. It's all good. But yeah, for those 10 people who, if you haven't liked this video or anything like that, make sure to do that. It would really mean a lot to me as well. But we'll stick around for another minute or so until another question drops. Meanwhile, in terms of this week, I have a lot. I'm going to be releasing the Kick-Ass Investing Bootcamp this week. Basically helping people get a Kickstarter with their personal finance. Going to be charging $29 for it. Really low cost, and I think it's going to be amazing for people. It's a 7-day bootcamp. What else I'm going to do? Oh yeah, gotta switch email providers. I've been using MailChimp for the longest freaking time, but I'm going to be moving to SendFox by Noah Kagan just because one, it's cheaper, and two, I think it's better for content creators as well. So there's that. I got 3 videos coming out, one on my investing channel, kickassinvesting.com/YouTube. That's how you can access that. And then 3 on this main channel as well. I gotta finish my high ticket program, which I'm 2 modules away from finishing. So I'm going to finish that up tonight. I have to do a 21-point checklist for my set and close calls as well. I gotta write a newsletter that was supposed to go out today, but I didn't do that. So, whoops. I have to do this, like, I'm going to this networking event tomorrow, a virtual event with all the special guests for this like virtual summit as well. I gotta make that crypto trade as well, and move some funds. Got some finances to review, write posts for the week. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then what I'm going to do as well is actually do some deep focus sessions later this week as well. So if you guys are interested in that, yeah, feel free to join me on that. But that's everything on my calendar this week. Where did you say you can get a high ticket closing gig? Like I said, I mean, I think referral is like the best, but if you don't have any referral, you can always try to go Upwork and stuff like that. So there's that resource. There's a few other, you can apply to job boards as well, but I mean, the probability of getting those careers and jobs and having it be really great is not that high based off my experience. I'm not saying my experience is king or anything like that, but warm referral is always best in my opinion. But you only get that through networking with people, having those connections. And if you aren't good at creating those connections, it's best to, hey, meet someone who does have clients who can get you those connections as well. So there's all of that at the moment. So that's pretty much it. All right. Yeah, Yummy. Sounds like you got a bunch of questions and stuff. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching as well, just let me know and we can chat on Instagram as well. That's pretty much it, y'all. So I just want to say have a great rest of the week. We will see you guys next week at the same time, which is 2 hours before this, whatever your time zone is, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're in Australia, I don't know, whatever 2 hours ago was, that's when I usually stream on a weekly basis as well. Great content, my dude. Have a great week this week. Looking forward to new videos. Awesome, guys. Well, I just want to say before we head off, I really appreciate all of y'all that have joined in on this week and love y'all. Oh yes, and I've been watching Ivanka fix my life. So that's been so helpful in my techniques and stuff, like improve my life. That's great stuff, man. Great, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Have a great rest of your week. Peace.